Ahead of his fight with Della Maddalena, Islam Makhachev has just started his vigorous training again alongside Khabib Nurmagomedov in the mountains. However, Jeff Neal was asked who he thought would win that fight. He admitted he wasn't sure, saying that everyone always talks about how strong Islam is at lightweight, and he was curious to see how that strength carries over to welterweight. Neal added that he hopes Jack has been working on his takedown defense and putting time in the weight room because he doesn't want to see a lightweight come up and take the 170 belt. When asked who he gives the edge to, Neal leaned toward Jack, explaining that he wants him to keep the welterweight title.
Who do you think wins that fight?
I don't know. We will see, because I've heard Islam's strong as shit. Like, especially like when he's fighting 155, people like always talk about how strong he is for the weight class. So we'll see how that translates to 170.
Yeah.
You know, I hope Jack's been working his takedown defense and in the weight room. You know what I mean? Don't embarrass us, dog. Don't let this 155er come up and take the belt, bro.
Who do you give the edge to in that fight?
Man, that's so hard. But I'm gonna give the edge to Jack, man. He needs to keep the belt at 170.
Moreover, Dustin Poirier feels the result of the matchup will mostly depend on the opening rounds. If Islam is able to secure an early takedown on Jack, Poirier believes Islam could control the fight. But if Jack can keep the fight standing, his sharp boxing ability and natural strength might create big problems for Islam. Poirier also pointed out that while Islam's striking can look a bit unorthodox, it still works well since opponents are always worried about his wrestling threat.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches, because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's gonna go.
Islam Makhachev has been pushing himself through a grueling mountain camp to prepare for his upcoming clash with Della Maddalena. Training at high altitude has sharpened his conditioning, forcing his body to adapt to thinner air while building unmatched stamina. Islam Makhachev's training base in Dagestan is known for its no-nonsense approach, built around rugged conditions that mold fighters into some of the toughest in the world. The gym itself is simple but effective, with wrestling mats, cages, and strength areas filled with dedicated athletes who push each other to the limit every day. Unlike flashy modern facilities, the atmosphere is raw, focused entirely on hard work, discipline, and constant improvement. However, Islam Dulatov shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena, saying that while many people see it as an easy win for Makhachev, he doesn't agree. He admitted that Makhachev is the favorite, but expects the fight to be tough. Dulatov explained that although Makhachev looks big at lightweight, he isn't unusually large at welterweight, and Maddalena may carry advantages in both weight and striking, while Makhachev clearly dominates in grappling.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks, because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game.
He later repeated that he still favors Makhachev to get the win despite the difficulties. Dolokhov warned fans not to overlook Maddalena, pointing out that he's earned his position at the top and is a serious threat. In the end, Dolokhov stood firm in his belief that Makhachev will come out victorious, though he stressed that the matchup will be far from easy.
If I said you had to choose one fighter to win that one, who would you choose?
Islam.
Really, Islam? You're just saying how he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but I say he will win this.
Oh, you really?
I think he gonna win this for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, like I'm very sure that he's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be not an easy fight.
Not easy.
You know,
fight.
like because I see in the comments like a lot of people, oh JDM, it's over for you. You know, like people make this guy like very small. You know, and actually, bro, that's a reason why he's there. You know, why he's a champ. So. I think it's going to be a tough fight, but Islam going to win for sure.
Charles Oliveira praised Jack Della Maddalena's calculated and dangerous approach inside the cage. He highlighted Jack's patience, pointing out that instead of chasing a quick finish, he methodically breaks down his opponents, as seen in his bout with Belal Muhammad. Oliveira also noted that Islam Makhachev will carry his strength into welterweight and rely on his elite grappling, with the real question being whether Jack can avoid the ground exchanges or if Islam can impose his control there.
Quem que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta. Mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é o time.
Alexander Volkanovski gave his own breakdown of the matchup, saying Jack's showing against Belal Muhammad was the perfect preparation. He explained that Jack's ability to stuff Belal's takedowns and turn them into moments of confidence improved his overall defensive game. Volkanovski stressed that even the highest level grapplers will find it difficult to take Jack down or keep him controlled once the fight goes to the canvas.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Jorge Masvidal gave his view on the Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight, leaning toward Islam as the favorite. He complimented Jack's sharp striking and the strong takedown defense he displayed against Belal Muhammad, but argued that Islam's wrestling operates on a different level. Masvidal added that while Jack may come out fast with his striking, Islam's non-stop pressure and high-level grappling are likely to shift the fight in his favor as it progresses.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is, though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam. Jack, #1 pound for, wow, that's impressive. You know, I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Belal.
Belal has the best cardio in MMA, but Belal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Belal never stops. A dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Navajo Sterling, on the other hand, predicted that Jack would dictate the action in the welterweight title bout. He claimed Jack's size and knockout power would neutralize much of Islam's wrestling threat. Sterling also noted that if Jack wins, it could take away some of the hype around a possible Makhachev versus Ilya fight in the future. He closed by stressing that Islam is in for a very difficult challenge.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
Here we go,
gonna say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam, shins him so bad. It's gonna be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just gonna throw. That's hard to like shoot in on. He's not gonna be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Robert Whitaker spoke about the unknowns Islam Makhachev faces in moving up to welterweight, saying the change in weight class brings fresh physical and strategic obstacles. Even so, Whitaker expressed confidence that Islam can still deliver at the highest level, comparing his potential success in the division to what Belal Muhammad has accomplished.
But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Luke Rockhold called the matchup between Islam and Jack Della Maddalena both tough and exciting. He listed Islam, Ilia Topuria, and Jack among his current top UFC fighters, praising Jack's entertaining style and solid wrestling while pointing out Islam's deep grappling foundation built over years of training. Rockhold also noted the size factor, with Jack being the naturally bigger man, while Islam has added muscle for the move up, making the fight even more intriguing.
It's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Renato Moicano viewed the fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena as evenly matched. He credited Islam's grappling and size advantage at lightweight, but pointed out that moving up means dealing with naturally bigger opponents. Moicano explained that Islam will need time to build muscle and adapt to the higher division, which in his opinion makes the contest more balanced.
So Islam versus JDM.
I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be even.
Jack Hermanson spoke about the uncertainty surrounding fighters when they step into a new weight class. He acknowledged Islam's dominance at lightweight, calling him one of the best pound-for-pound fighters today, but questioned whether that same control will carry over to welterweight. Even with that doubt, Hermanson still leaned toward Islam in the matchup. He also praised Jack's showing against Belal Muhammad, but said more fights are needed before fully measuring Jack's overall level.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. It looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
Philip Rowe voiced strong belief that Jack Della Maddalena will defeat Islam Makhachev. He argued that Islam doesn't have the size to succeed at welterweight and predicted Jack's physical strength would help him shake off takedowns and overpower Islam, leading to a stoppage win.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man? Chilling. Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in a fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Ian Gary admitted the matchup is tough to call. He praised Islam's complete skill set, but noted that the 15-pound jump brings new challenges. Gary pointed to Jack's natural size, heavy boxing, and improving takedown defense as major assets, though he still leaned slightly toward Islam because of his elite abilities.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Craig Jones said Islam Makhachev is heading into one of the toughest challenges of his career. He referenced Islam's first fight with Volkanovski as an example of how elite scrambling can give him trouble, and noted that Jack Della Maddalena adds even more unpredictability with his grappling transitions and grip breaks.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, obviously he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well.
Jones went on to highlight Jack's creativity, explaining that it makes him far more difficult to prepare for than a fighter like Belal Muhammad, who sticks to a rigid game plan. He added that the size factor could catch people off guard, and predicted the fight might turn into the kind of wild, striking-driven matchup the UFC enjoys showcasing.
But in terms of creativity and what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that. So I think like Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And having seen Jack and Volk's work together, seeing the skill sets, like this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help him out, even though potentially enemy.
Gilbert Burns said he sees welterweight as a more natural division for Islam Makhachev, since making 155 has grown increasingly difficult for him. While he praised Islam's overall skill set, Burns cautioned that Jack's work with elite fighters such as Volkanovski and Craig Jones could turn the matchup into a very close and dangerous fight.
Islam's working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
Sean O'Malley described the fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena as a major matchup, though he felt it doesn't carry the same hype as a potential showdown with Ilia Topuria. He praised Islam's victory over Belal Muhammad, saying it adds intrigue to the clash with Jack, and pointed out that if Jack can block takedowns and connect with clean strikes, the fight could become highly competitive.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev.
I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Belal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA.
Big belt.
Who give him back?
Jack versus Islam, I think, is huge. Not as big as Ilya versus Islam, but who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger.
O'Malley also called Islam's jump to welterweight an exciting move, arguing that the size gap between him and Jack won't be as dramatic as some expect. He added that Islam's versatile skill set might allow striking to play a bigger role than many anticipate.
How do you think Islam does at welterweight?
Who knows? I heard he's not going to be any smaller than Jack come fight night. 55 to 70, that's a little bit different than 35 to 45, 45 to 55. But when your skill level's that high as Islam's is, it'll be interesting if he goes in there and tries to shoot on Jack. Jack stuffs him and gets in his face. But Islam's striking is so underrated. Islam could put the hands on Jack too.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the matchup? We would love to hear your thoughts on this. So share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right.